Hi, I wanted to talk about the midheaven. The midheaven is called the MC or the Medium Coeli. Coeli is pronounced many different ways. I am not learned in Latin. It's spelled Coeli. What I understand is that it means the middle of the sky. The way that I concept the midheaven, though, is that it is the top of the chart, but it's like even above the chart. It's the highest point in the sky when you were born, at the moment you were born. In the way that this translates to how we can apply it to like our lives or personalities or things that are happening is that this is like the most public part of us. We don't have a lot of control over how people perceive us. So this point in our chart usually gives us information on how people perceive us. That's also talked about when we look at the rising sign. But to me, the midheaven is how people perceive you who've never met you, who have never seen you in person, who've maybe only heard of you, or who have only seen your art or your work, and not you as the person. Okay, so what else about the midheaven I can share? In Hellenistic astrology, we use whole sign house delineation systems, which means that every house is one full zodiac sign. So there's 12 signs, there's 12 houses. In other house systems, there may be cusps, meaning that one zodiac sign could be in two houses at once, sometimes three. But let's stick with the whole sign method or whole sign delineation. With whole sign, you can have the midheaven, the MC, the medium coeli, in more than just one house. It is often in the 10th house. I would say most commonly in the 10th house. And the 10th house themes are really connected to the midheaven. So the 10th house is our most public house. It's where public perception is in mind. Legacy is a theme where we put our effort out into the world, which is usually how people know us, right? So the midheaven is usually in the 10th house, but it can be in the ninth house. It can be in the 10th house, or it can be in the eighth. Wait, sorry. Well, back it up. It can be in the 11th house. It can be in the ninth house. What I've seen in clients' charts of mine, and this is like definitely an interpretation of mine that I would love your feedback on. But when I see the midheaven in the 11th house versus the 10th, I usually can ascertain or guess or wonder or ask if that native, the client, is more attuned to the collective's desire or the collective's effort or putting their career or their life into the hands of a network versus their own singular legacy. So that'd be the 10th house. A 10th house midheaven would be more about how are you, an individual, putting your legacy out into the world, your effort out into the world. The 11th house is different in that how are you going to be part of a group or part of a network or part of a movement that will further your effort or your legacy in the world. The ninth house is different in that I see this as there are established systems of thinking or meaning making that this person is more interested in being a part of. So if your midheaven is in the ninth house versus the 10th and 11th, that usually says to me that you are satisfied to be a purveyor or proponent of a religion. Or let's say that you lived in the early 1900s and the surrealist movement had started, and maybe 10 years after it had started are still so um I didn't mean to say still, like it was condescending, but you're very dedicated to that way of thinking and way of being and way of acting, and you are known as someone who is a surrealist teacher or surrealist speaker, often priests, professors, people who love to work inside of well-weathered systems. Yeah, in a leadership way possibly, but it's not always leadership. It's just you. The ninth house midheaven speaks to enjoying going deeper and broadening. Broadening is a good word. Broadening a field. So maybe doctors actually would be really ninth house midheaven dominant. Though I could see how some doctors who want to make a name for themselves would be 10th house midheavens. So that's how I see that. Another thing about the midheaven is that the midheaven degree, whatever sign and degree your midheaven is in, your IC or your Imum Coeli is in the direct opposite sign. So, like, say your midheaven is 10 degrees Scorpio, the opposite of that would be 10 degrees Taurus. So, something to keep in mind is that your most private point, the IC, is like inextricably opposite to your most public point, which I think is a really important concept for all philosophies. Is like, how do we present ourselves publicly versus privately? And how are they two sides of the same coin? Or how do they contradict one another? How do they challenge one another? Um, you can't talk about the midheaven without the IC. And similarly, you can't really talk about the midheaven without the ascendant or the descendant. Those are the four major angles in the chart. I think that's all I want to talk about the midheaven right now. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and then I can make a follow-up video. But that's just what I like looking at. Oh wait, okay, no. One more thing. The planet that is closest to your midheaven is often the energetic signature of how you're perceived publicly. So let's say you have Venus like right on your midheaven or within, let's say, 3 degrees of your midheaven, and it's the closest planet to your midheaven. People may be more inclined to see you as an artist, or more inclined to see you as a peacemaker, or more inclined to see you as someone who's very pleasant, the Venusian themes. Differently, if Mars or maybe Pluto is the planet nearest to your midheaven, there'd be more of like a difficult or a strong impression that you give off to people. So I think that's always interesting. Everyone has a planet that is closest to the midheaven, even if it's many signs away. And I still think that stands up. I still think if that planet is like 2, 3 houses away, it still is the most perceptible quality of you publicly. And I would love to be wrong. So check my work. Put it in the comments. What's the planet closest to your midheaven? Let's talk about it. Okay. Thank you for watching.